Test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Very nice. Well, in a premiership battle that many are billing as a two-horse race between Rockdale and Marconi, perhaps not enough people are talking about the third horse, because it's here at Christie Park where a golden chance presents for the hosts NWS Spirit to draw level with the top two in the hunt for the league title. And in their quest to put the heat on Illendon and Marconi, a duo who play tomorrow, they could not be facing an opponent whose form more starkly contrasts with their own. Making the journey from Cromer to Christie Park, a Manly United side with just one win in their last 9 in interim management and in the grip of a 3-game goalless drought. Two sides desperate for a win for very, very different reasons in a league that is known to spring surprises. It's an intriguing clash that awaits us at the Arctic Circle this evening. Pleasure to have your company for it. For round 22 NPL New South Wales action, the business end of the season. Every game of importance, especially for the premiership hopefuls NWS Spirit, who are flying under the radar, but flying high in a rich vein of form, especially here at home where they are 6 games undefeated. They've picked up more points on their home deck than any other side. Hoping to continue that against a Manly team who have been under the cosh of late. Patrick Svansweig, of course, the head coach has departed. Jimmy Snedden placed in as the interim. He's still searching for his first points. And they are still away from the bottom end of the table, but they're going to need to show something in the back end of this season to make sure their place in the top flight is a certainty for another season. But if you're of an Illendon or a Marconi Stallions persuasion, it is all eyes on NWS Spirit tonight. A big chance for the team in third to pile the pressure from the chasing pack onto those in the top two. It's Manly who get us underway through Harry McCarthy. And the blue attacking the right of screen. There are a few changes to their lineup tonight. No new faces, but a couple of fresh ones into the starting 11. That's a Ben Coop and Jesper Chipman both dropping to the bench tonight. And there is a headline change of particular importance and interest to NWS Spirit, which we might get onto in a second, as Farah Coco hits the turf and no whistle arrives from tonight's referee, Kurt Ams. Good to have the A-League experience of Kurt Ams out there tonight, taking charge of this particular fixture. And let's go back to those big changes for Spirit. One of them is a new man who we saw make his debut for NWS Spirit last week. Not new to NPL New South Wales, but the returning to NPL New South Wales presence of Andre Takami. He comes in for a first Spirit start. There is a first Spirit starting berth in a very long time. 336 days to be exact, for the number 11, Ollie Wigan, a player upon whom there are very big raps. Just his 5th appearance of season 2025 on the comeback trail from an ACL injury. Great to see him continue that journey with a place in David Perkovic's starting side tonight. Elsewhere on the bench, return tonight for towering central defender Jeremy Pachevsky. And you would expect Spirit to control the bulk of the possession in this one. Frankie Lukovic. Here's Simon Nicholas for the Spirit. The first goal of this one. I know it's a commentary cliche to talk about how important the first goal of a game is, but it is of particular importance in a game like tonight. And Manly, for all their struggles, when they have scored first, have been very tough to beat this season. In fact, they haven't been able to be beaten when scoring first this season. 5 wins and 1 draw when they've taken the lead. And it's not quite as pretty news when they go behind first. The Spirit, on the other hand, taken the lead in 15 games this season, gone on to win 12 of them, losing just 1. It's away by Meek, a bit of an half-hearted clearance, but a clearance nonetheless. And Spirit coming into this game off the back of an impressive 2-0 victory at Adenza Park. Here's Cornwell lining up from distance, and that would have been a collector's item from the captain. Not a regular scorer of goals is a man who is practically a furniture item at Christie Park in season 21 at NWS Spirit. Has scored this season. That was his first goal since 2022. And the Spirit was still playing in League One. How far away those days seem now for David Perkovic's men, firmly in the premiership picture. Still on 43 points. Coney and Illingdon on 46, and it is those two who have taken a lot of the focus. And perhaps Spirit are in the shadows waiting to strike. Takami. This ball into space for Lukovic. Pressure came from the Manly midfield but never materialised fully. In the end, United able to get their defensive house in order. But it is Spirit who have taken to this game with a real vigour. And the pressure will continue after Kudam's whistles in favour of the home side. Free kick taken quickly to Kami. His return to New South Wales state competition from Olympic FC. Debut today for him. Akubo. Lost out to the weight of numbers. And Spirit nearly won it back with some firm pressure to Aaron O'Driscoll in the heart of the defence. Well, they have been polar opposites in terms of recent form, position on the table. It is, of course, 3rd v 12th tonight. There wasn't a lot to split them when they did meet earlier this season. Just the one Iwakubo goal. It was a very clever goal as well out at Cromer Park. He's 10 for the season. The form book wouldn't suggest it'll be that tight tonight, but honestly, with this Manly side, who knows? They've been in the grip of an utterly bizarre season this year. Points looking so impressive. And some of their demolitions of the teams around them. 5 past the Mariners, 5 past Mount Druitt, 6 against Wollongong, 5-2 winners against Sydney Olympic. The Peaks positioned by some pretty low troughs. Meek rolls it to the top of the box. A delicate little flick. This is great stuff. And Rossello fires away. That was A pretty piece of Manly play. Imagination and fantasy on the flick from Rossello, returned well by McCarthy. And unfortunately, Chris Marks not called into action from a Spirit perspective. There's a flash of the kind of rocks and diamonds season it's been for Manly. It can be good. They can't always channel it consistently, as McCarthy is a little lazily offside. I mentioned those swashbuckling wins they have had this season. On that stretch, they scored 21 of their 28 goals this season in the space of just 4 games. So, for those of you who can't do the quick maths at home, 3/4 of Manly's goals for the year have come in 4 games. 12 goalless 12 times this season, either side of those headline wins. So that doesn't tell you what a strange year it's been for them. I'm not entirely sure what will. Nicholas. Lukovic had dropped off the front line nicely, and it's a well-intentioned pass across the Takumi Fuka, but doesn't meet its intended target in the form of the Japanese winger. So no major chances to speak of inside the opening 10 minutes, but definitely plenty of signs that Spirit are up for the fight. They're hoping to control this game. I could wonder whether or not the impetus being on Spirit to win this game, to keep up the intensity of the fight in the premiership race. Needing to have the ball might actually suit Manly, as they can be a good transitional team. They were looking to show it there but couldn't. Lukovic. And a great touch by a Spirit favourite in Ollie Wigan, who is lining up with sights of goal, and blocked nicely by Driscoll. And Driscoll. Manly's only outfielder to have played every minute this season, the Irishman. Nicholas has shown plenty of intent to take up forward acreage when it's afforded to him out of defence. Kaya Williams. Across for Brady Smith, who scans the field, but happy to keep Spirit moving laterally. Takami able to pick out the feet of Ollie Wigan. Thanks to having a short game between themselves that is swiftly broken up by the Manly midfield. Stefano Rossello. Akubo. Across to Chris Marks, who was a standout in a 2-0 win against Sydney United last week. A number of quality saves to earn him a spot in the NPL New South Wales Team of the Week. Picked off by Perez. Looking to try and get Harry McCarthy moving. Marks, a cool customer. Well done, Chris. Kaya Williams. Grant Cornwell. Looking to turn up the intensity, but instead his pass is picked off and it's sent into the direction of Farakoko. Who can keep it alive, but can't do much more than that. These are going to be the critical moments you fancy for Jimmy Snedden's side tonight. Those transitional opportunities that will arrive so long as the men from Cromer Park can keep Spirit snuffed out at the other end. It's been a long time though since Manly last found the back of the net. Closing in on 340 NPL New South Wales minutes since Manly last found the target. It's the one goal in their last 4 games on the road. Showing a little bit more fight in the early knockings of this game than we have seen in recent weeks. Keeping that up for a full 90 against the Spirit side. Another matter, but again, you never say never in this competition. Takami back to Marks. Splitting the gap between the two defenders in his press, and now he ups the ante. Takami, that was risky. Marks comes in with the head. It's ugly. And Burgess couldn't capitalise. There's some class at the end of this chaos. Well, not quite, but a free kick that relieves the pressure for Spirit a little bit. Cornwell. Spirit having a time working it out with their own half at the moment. Despite the suspicions that Manly would be happy to sit back, absorb pressure and break. Enjoy with some offensive pressing. It's produced another turnover here. Farakoko. If you're a Manly fan, you will want to see Farakoko on the score sheet tonight. 5 goals this season. Manly have not lost in a game he's found himself on the score sheet. And here he is, Farakoko driving to the byline and marshalled out of play comfortably in the end by Grant Cornwell. Been so composed, comfortable and controlling at Fortress Christie Park this season. Spirit, 84 days since their last loss against the Marconi Stallions. They are looking a little more off colour thus far. Takumi. In came Pires to put the squeeze on. And again, Spirit forced to retreat to their goalkeeper. Afuka. Great first touch. The second, the third and the fourth weren't half bad either. Burgess can only get his body in the way to stop forward passage from his opponents. Big up and under. The task set for Iwakubo. Responds reasonably well. So too did O'Driscoll. Oh, filthy from Jesse Perez through the legs of Takumi Ifuka. Burgess couldn't quite repeat the trick. Good win by Kaya Williams initially. Away home, Manly head to Alan Naganovic. Spirit's chance to add some pressure. It's not for the first time this evening. Kurt Adams a little too keen to get involved in the Spirit build-up. Affords Manly the chance to get their numbers back behind the ball. Has lacked in chances so far this game. It is made up for in energy. Good opening arriving here though, potentially. Oh, Lukovic should have steered that on target. And if he did, we could be talking about a very different game and perhaps a very different scoreline. It's an errant touch. Off the cross from Alan Naganovic, and Lukovic had to react quickly and couldn't bring it down in quite the way he wanted. It's a half scare survived for Manly at the very least. Just putting a bit too much meat on that one, the American. Meek, Manly's last scorer of a goal on the 12th of June against the Mariners in midweek. Spirit building nicely here down the left. Akubo and Ifuka combining. Ifuka. Once again, struggling to find a gap for this Manly midfield. Is one materialising here? O'Driscoll was in really well. And gets the luck of the Irish as the deflection comes off the boot. Takumi Ifuka and out for a Manly goal kick. Pass, risk-laden pass for Van der Sarg, and it might be punished here. Akubo, Conestabo now looking to find a shooting angle. And it did take a touch off a Manly marker, so a corner coming for NWS Spirit. That's not what you want to see if you're of a Manly persuasion. Spirit's two top scorers teaming up on the top of the penalty area. Kubo and Michael Conestabo. Frankie Lukovic, the American, will be the man to take the corner, but not before Kurt Adams has done a bit more sorting out. Over at the back post. And plenty of Spirit players are amassed, and it might travel all the way in. Ifuka! A big deflection and another touch that was up and under in the end, and out of play and out of danger to the goal of Levi Kay. Naganovic only looking to play it out from the back this time. Meek, his pass picked off by Lukovic. Ifuka, Conestabo, Takumi Ifuka! Spirit breakthrough. Manly mistake punished. And all it took was a few simple passes from a team who can make it look really easy. Lovely link up between the attacking trio. Akubo, Konostabo, Afuka with the finish. And while they haven't been at their best in the opening 20, Spirit, they have got the all-important breakthrough. And that will be a nerve settler for a Spirit side. Very intent on the 3 points tonight. And 2, it must be said, prior to that poor turnover from Lucas Meek, had been under pressure at various moments from Manly. It's that recently familiar feeling for Manly United. Behind and up against it. Konostabo with numbers breaking left and right. Ollie Wigan. The fast feet. Wigan. Out of play for a corner. Much to the delight of David Perkovic. So 7th of the season for Takumi Afuka. Splits the sides at Christie Park. Taken short. Takami. Afuka looking to double his money or turn provider. It was a bit betwixt and between both of those options in truth. Kay getting Manly moving quickly. Kay goes chest to the advantage of no teammate in particular. Perez is sent to the turf by Akubo, hoping that he can continue his fine scoring record against today's opponents. The match winner last time they met, as we mentioned, but a brace and a 2-0 win at his former club Hills last season as well. So 3 goals in 3 games for the Japanese attacker. Against Manly United. Wigan. Poor pass. Meek. Van der Sarg. You're not really able to punish that particular turnover. O'Driscoll. Spirit putting the squeeze on Manly. O'Donoghue to the feet of McCarthy, who wasn't quite able to trap. Wigan was trying to lead O'Driscoll on a merry dance. Get the free kick he wanted at the end of all of that. Nick and Nicholas go toe-to-toe, and it's the Spirit number 13 who wins out. Afuka. Still going is Takumi Afuka. And it's Iwakubo who is quick to praise the eagle eyes of Kurt Ams, who spotted an extra Manly touch as he tried to stab his way into possession. Brady Smith Lukovic. And Meek once and then twice. The two Americans in an entertaining tangle. Williams. You hear the call from David Perkovic wanting to get Wigan isolated with Matt O'Donoghue, the Manly fullback. They are not crib and Arsene Wengerism. Well, let's come back to that in a sec because it's a poor turnover from Spirit. Van der Sar is on the charge. He hasn't been able, an experienced A-League midfielder, to make the most happen out of that one. It was almost a 4-on-4 for Manly. Farakoko upended, and Kurt Ams obliges with the whistle. Yeah, you can hear that intent from David Perkovic to get the ball out to Ollie Wigan. It's because of how exciting he has looked in flashes since making his injury return, of course. On the score sheet last week, for the first time in nearly 400 days. At Denza Park last week. Manly's free kick delivered by Van der Sar. Rossello. It's Leash. This break for Harry McCarthy. No is the answer. Kurt Ams drawing play dead. Yeah, not too heavily off Arsene Wenger, but probably is a feeling that Ollie Wigan, the amount of time he spent out of the game, how good he's looked, and the timing of his return almost perfectly lined up with the mid-season window. Dare I say it, Ollie Wigan is like a new signing for the Spirit. Arriving at the perfect time, the back end of this season. As they look to spring a surprise on the top two in the race for the premiership. And of course, sew up home finals berth, maybe a week's rest in the finals, depending on how far they can take things. O'Donoghue prodding forward for Farakoko. Meek was on. But in the end, all Farakoko's ball can find is Spirit Juniors ducking for cover. One of whom has stolen the ball. Another of whom has tried to return a, looks like a netball to me. Play the game. An entertaining bunch, those Spirit Juniors. This one breaks for Wigan. Lovely pass, disguised well. Afuka bends the ball in, big deflection. That breaks the way of Lucas Meek. Farakoko, McCarthy trying to bend his run, but Cornwell was in the way. Whenever the ball heads into that area, you're going to get some entertainment from the Spirit youngsters who supported in that area of the grandstand by four flutes with lyrics for various chants. You may hear a rendition of Spirit, clap, 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 Spirit, clap, clap, clap later. You never know quite what you'll get from those particular juniors. O'Driscoll. Van der Sar takes it off his toes. Manly as yet not able to muster much of a response to Spirit's 23rd minute Afuka opener. Would that be about to change? No. Marks doing very well. Good ball from Kay. Donahue chests it into a place where there were Spirit players waiting, but Manly conspire to keep things moving. Rossello with a good forward run. After 285 minutes since their last league goal, Manly United. I have to wonder how big a weight that is hanging over their heads at the moment. As Ollie Wiggin is on the charge once again. The early ball is Wedrell by Alan Agatovich. He is looking the most likely. Spirit have had a lot of joy down the flanks through here. Nafuka, the goal scorer. Here is Afuka, the goal scorer, trying to turn provider, but cross cut out for a corner. There's two sides to that Manly drought argument. Yes, you imagine it is hanging rudely over their heads, but if they are able to score, is that a floodgate opener for them? The stats tell us 75% of their goals in 4 games, when they score one, they do usually find another. Corner curled in past all of the waiting members. Back heel to no avail. In comes Kaya Williams to keep it alive. If there is one positive, David Perkovic, after seeing his side take the lead. Those moments of pressure that Manly are still applying, they are dealing with them far better now. They're operating from a position of ascendancy. Close to the commentator's curse potentially striking against them there, but they pass their way out of danger very nicely indeed, as the foot race is on between O'Driscoll and Kubo, but the pass just a bit too hot. Collected comfortably in the end by Kay. This position of ascendancy is one that Spirit this season have rarely let slip. 12 wins, 2 draws, and just their 1 defeat. And scoring first this season for Spirit. Positive for Manly is that it came a couple of weeks ago against a side who have had a similarly difficult season to them in St George City. Head tennis going on here. It's broken the way of Spirit. Afuka with a nice fake. And then the switch arrives. Donahue was able to get there, but only by time, as it ends at the feet of Ollie Wiggin anyway. It's a pull-back pass, picked off by McCarthy. Big chance potentially this for Manly. Farakoko back to McCarthy, and in comes Van der Sarg. Once again, Manly can make nothing of the opportunity afforded to them and are forced to foul. Spirit transition. Great player to watch. The man just fouled Michael Conestabo. 9 goals and 3 assists this season. Good touch to free himself. Lukovic didn't catch it. The score is first Spirit goal here at home. Last time out to Frankie Lukovic, match winner against Western Sydney Wanderers, but that one a long way away from repeating the feat. He's been a midfield mainstay in his first full season at Christie Park. Since coming across from America, spending time at Gonzaga Uni and Kingston Stockade. You've got to love American club names. Burgess. It wasn't particularly elegant, but it worked to retain the football for the visitors. Van der Sarg. Farakoko in a pocket. McCarthy's able to make magic happen with his flick. Ganovic has monstered a Kubo who's come off second best. Only no major rush to conclude the stop play. And the physio straight out to give attention to Iwakubo. It looks from this vantage point clutching at the quad. Maybe just worked under the ball by Aganovic. I would imagine he'll be all right to continue, but sometimes when they come without major contact and they are on the more innocuous end, sometimes those can be unfortunately the most dangerous injuries. But Takumi Ifuka looks like he's going to be joined by his Japanese compatriot in Iwakubo. And on comes Iwakubo back to the field, much to the relief of the Spirit support. A very shrewd acquisition out of the wreckage of the relegated Hills United last season. Still 3 games shy of reaching his goal tally from last year, but Nicholas and Meek come together this time. Rossello stabs at Farakoko! Oh my goodness! The goal drought is finally over for Manly, and what a special way to make it happen. Farakoko with a sweet hit. Mark's left stranded. And it is a moment of Manly magic that brings the goalless run to an end. After 3 full games without a goal. It's a 6th of the season for Farakoko. That is not how those at Christie Park of a Spirit persuasion saw the script unfolding. And all of a sudden, we have a game on our hands at Christie Park. Fuka's opener now cancelled out by a Coco cracker. Spirit looking to get things going quickly in the opposite direction, but Wigan just ran out of room. And what a monumental weight off the shoulders that will be for Interim coach Jimmy Sneddon and his Manly coaching staff. First goal since the 12th of June when Ben Coop, or rather Lucas Meek, hit the back of the net in the 33rd minute against the Mariners, ending their run without a goal. I fancy somewhere around the 360. Oh, hang on, let me just do the sums again. The 367th minute mark by my maths. Long time between drinks, but Farakoko's goal more than worth the wait. And now we see what Manly side can emerge from the shackles that they had been trapped under, or trapped in. Come somewhat out of nowhere. It has knocked this wind out of Spirit's sails. They had the lead without being at their best. You can argue that that's the mark of the better teams. And now the challenge is how they will respond. And they're looking to do so quickly. Wigan is the man on the march again. Ollie Wigan. Solid stop by the Manly back line. If that is any evidence, Spirit knocked down, but they are planning to get back up again. And up again swiftly. There's a big challenge from Lucas Meek, and no sooner has he made the tackle, does he go straight in to the referee's book. So it's a ticket for Manly's American. I'm sure has been keeping an intent eye on the Club World Cup of late. Former young player on the books of Inter Miami. A solitary minute of stoppage time is added on to the first half by Rory McFarlane, the fourth official, in which Frankie Lukovic will take the free kick. And Cornwell was well positioned at the back post, but cut out before it could reach his head.
Come on, move!
Nicholas back to Marks. Coco closing. And it's picked off by O'Donoghue. Kaya Williams.
Get forward!
That one went out of play before anything could happen with it. And you can hear that David Perkovic is not best pleased. It's a very interesting team talk coming up for both of these managers. Should this one end at the first half as it is now? And it will. Well, not what we expected at Christie Park so far. NWS Spirit took the lead, one that they thought would set them up for a first half of control and comfort through Takumi Afuka on the 23rd minute. But Farakoko of Manly United had very different ideas about how that first half was going to unfold. It was he who unloaded a bomb from outside the area and blew up the script we thought was unfolding at Christie Park. All to play for on the other side of this break. And a big 3 points, the dangling prize for each of these two sides as Spirit look to keep up the fight in the premiership race. Don't go anywhere. It's a big second stanza to come on the other side of the break. The halftime score from Christie Park, NWS Spirit 1, Manly United 1. "45 minutes to play, so much to play for at Christie Park on Saturday night. Spirit get us back underway for a second half. It commences in a manner we didn't quite expect, and that is with a level scoreline coming out of the break. The favoured Spirit side took the lead through Takumi Afuka on the 23rd minute. A Lucas Meek mistake punished with aplomb, and it seemed as though they would head into the break with a 1-0 lead. But Manly had some ideas about that. Their first goal in nearly 400 minutes of football might nearly turn into a turnaround here, but Marks came off his line to cut off the supply to the man who pulled an equalizer out of nowhere for Manly United. And in some serious eyebrow-raising style, Farakoko scoring a 6th of the season, an absolute peach. Powered past Chris Marks. And putting paid to any designs NWS Spirit had on a comfortable win that they could have sewn up in the first half. Important points at stake, let's not forget. Marconi Stallions and Rockdale Illingdon, the top two, both in action tomorrow. This is Spirit's chance to draw level on points with the two league leaders in the premiership race. And put the pressure on the big boys atop the NPL New South Wales table. And for Manly, it's a chance to stop the rot. Winless in 5, 1 win in last 9. And that goal, just their 4th since the end of April. A game in which they scored 5 against Sydney Olympic on the 27th. So a really delicately poised fixture, a lot on the line. Spirit looking to retake their lead. Afuka, a tantalising ball, an unconvincing palm. Akubo drops it down for Lukovic. Manly with bodies in the way again. Decent ball. Akubo backtracking. Conestabo picks up the pieces. Akubo still on the deck. Wigan. Delicate pass. Conestabo. Big deflection and a corner for the hosts. So unsurprisingly, Spirit emerging out of the halftime break, and David Perkovic team talk with plenty of energy. And if you look at the stats, this is a period of games where they do tend to cause a bit of trouble to opponents. They are fast out of the blocks to start second stanzas. 10 goals between the 45th and 60th minute of games this season, which is their second most potent period of the match behind the final 15. So they're a good second half team. They look to make that happen through Lukovic's delivery. Half away by O'Driscoll, a more convincing header arrived from Van der Sarg. McCarthy did his best and actually did rather well. Marcelo couldn't quite match his efforts. Brady Smith on the move, leading a one-man mission, but a deflection taking it out of his reach. The man who has had a really fascinating career, 27-year-old. He's well-travelled. And the clubs employed his services in the past in New South Wales. Bonnyrigg White Eagles, time in Victoria with Dandenong City and Preston. That's a high boot that is going to be quickly noticed and adjudicated by Kurt Ams. It's the international experience of Brady Smith that is also rather fascinating. Some professional stints in Hong Kong, Cambodia, and also Bangladesh. So very well travelled before his arrival to Spirit in 2025. Van der Sarg. Launch forward for Meek, but always fighting a losing battle to keep that one in play. Haven't seen the best of Harry Van der Sarg so far tonight. Jimmy Sneddon will be hoping that he can get a little bit more out of his man of 61 A-League appearances. Marks. Heads long, looked like a handball, and
Next up shot! Next up shot!
Kurt Ams saw exactly what you probably did at home.
Organize!
Van der Sarg with an up and under in the Meek direction, knocked towards Farrakoko. Just couldn't get the telling touch, and Marks in the end comes in with the claim. Gets his side moving swiftly. Cornwell. Ollie Wigan. Options to aim at in the middle, but the cross not his best, but wins a corner. So we hoped that Manly's equalizer would up the ante in this second half, and so far the early evidence is that we are getting exactly that.
Make sure our reaction to the corner's good!
And it comes from Lukovic into a good area as well, and the flick is in! And Ollie Wigan is on the score sheet for a second time in as many weeks. Such an important goal for Spirit's premiership ambitions. And it comes courtesy of a bit of invention from the loose ball. Ollie Wigan sticks a boot in. And on his long road back from an ACL injury, gets a first goal since returning in front of a home crowd who so clearly love him dearly. And gets a goal that could be seriously consequential for Spirit's silverware hopes.
Next one.
Get up, Sammy. Get up, Sammy. Don't worry about it.
Come on, next section, Mikey, come on!
It is Wigan's name who will go down on the score sheet, but a lot of credit has to go to the initial corner delivery from Frankie Lukovic. It was just dropped into a perfect area on that penalty spot. Kaya Williams got ahead to the ball. As a free kick is signalled and a card is awarded. By Kurt Ams to the goal scorer, Ollie Wigan. Lukovic's delivery just dropped right on the penalty spot. Kaya Williams got ahead to it, and the bouncing ball just broke perfectly for Ollie Wigan, who, again, just had an inventive, a hopeful stab. And it paid dividends. And asks a really interesting question of Manly. Can they come back from behind again? This side who have not had a lot to smile about. Well, the free kick was taken quickly, and they could have made more of that for Farakoko, but Kerdam still had sorting out to do. Will be brought back. And he will get another crack. So if you're late to join us,
Weeks, be aware defensively, be aware. Be narrow.
for the second half, it is Spirit back on top, courtesy of a favourite son, Ollie Wigan, with a second goal in as many games. Van der Sar is going to go for it. It was 1 in a million, and that was one of the 999,000. 999. Van der Sar with a good win. McCarthy trying to flick it to his own advantage once and then twice. Kurt Ams will pull back for the earlier infringement. It's Cornwell the guilty party this time. And Manly take the free kick quickly again. This time play is allowed to continue by Kurt Ams, but
Exact same foul in the first half and there was no free kick.
Manly not really taking advantage of catching Spear on the hop. Perez. Joshed well by Simon Nicholas. Takami. Thwarted by the Manly defence. In comes Afuka. Trying to turn provider. It's Ollie Wigan. So Driscoll in the way again. Connor Starbo. Coco has hit the deck. Play goes on. Appetite Spirit have got for a third. A lot is the answer. Wigan sends the ball in. And the shot on the turn is wide. Iwakubo trying to add to his account against Manly. Nothing doing in the end. Given the struggles in attack that Manly have had of late, you would have to imagine that one goal to get a route back into the contest, that's doable. A third for Spirit that would create a 3-goal buffer, especially with how good this Spirit defence is, would maybe make a mountain to climb. Ollie Wigan is on the march. I fancy his number is going to be called pretty soon. O'Donoghue. Inside for Rossello. Robbed of it by Connor Starbo, who sets a task for Akubo. No flag. Akubo punches it into the post. And a lick of paint away from a perfect Spirit breakaway. In came Kyle Williams. And still going is the central defender. Lukovic for Afuka. Takumi Afuka threads the needle. Lukovic, and now Akubo! Still alive. Afuka! How has it stayed out? Connor Starbo now. Wigan. Back heel. Not the right decision in the eyes of the Spirit coaches. And eventually Manly able to bring some control in the chaos. I cannot believe that Spirit did not add to their tally there. They may still, but not from this particular play. Aganovich, bit of a listless pass. Perez clears. Meek helps it on its way. Another, not another Perez, but certainly a sound alike. Jordan Perez is going to come in as it's coughed up for a Kubo. Big decision for Kurt Ams, who decides to keep the whistle away from his mouth. So that Manly defence living a little bit of a charmed life at the minute. O'Driscoll. Donahue, Farrakoko, a little poke. It's worked out pretty nicely in the end. Rossello. Meek isolated with Nicholas. Still Meek, delivering. Farrakoko lurking. Knocked clear. And away from threat by Spirit's defence. Oh, that's a poor pass. Picked off by Spirit. I feel the buffer zone goal is potentially on the way. It opens up for Conestabbo. And Afuka now with Paddock to work with. And can't find a teammate in the middle. Takami. Still Takami. Big touch on the cross. And that works out to the advantage of Levi K. Two-year-old Jordan Perez still waiting to come on. McCarthy to plough a difficult lone furrow atop the formation for Manly tonight. Ex-Mariner. A little bit ugly in the midfield third there. And Manly are going to be the beneficiaries of a free kick at the end of it all. And finally, the Spirit substitution can come to fruition. And Ollie Wigan, the man whose goal separates the sides, will leave to a hearty and, dare I say it, deserved round of applause for the 25-year-old. After 386 days of waiting for a goal after his injury return, he had to wait another 6 days for a second. Fascinating as to how Jimmy Snedden will utilise the Manly bench tonight. It is owing to a few departures in the transfer window, the likes of Rocco Pele, Bilal Belkadi, who's joined Mount Druitt, and if you are to believe certain rumours, Tiger Kawano as well. It is a slightly more youthful bench. The likes of Jasper Chipman and Maxwell Pengelly have had first team minutes in bits and pieces this year. Ben Coop is the standout name.
Brady, clear, swap! Brady, right side!
Farrakoko. Snuffed out by O'Donoghue at full stretch. two former Wanderers Academy talents on that left flank for Manly tonight. Farakoko the other. Do the visitors have a comeback in the tank? It's not looking likely at the moment, but Spirit are going to need to capitalise on one of their enterprising chances. The 6 previous games that Farakoko has scored for Manly this season, as mentioned in the first half, Manly haven't lost. 5 wins, 1 draw. And Coco has been a name on the score sheet. That record under pressure at the moment. And Jimmy Snedden's ears must have been burning when we were discussing substitutions, because he's about to make a double change of his own. O'Driscoll is going to look over his shoulder and see yellow shirts in every direction, and did expertly to find a way out of that trouble. And Sarg. Dadovic. Fascinating to watch these two sides try to take ever-increasing risks to work the ball out of the back and away from pressure. Van der Sarg. That's a pressure-relieving pass for Perez. Meek. So Jasper Chipman and Ben Coop, the 2 substitutes who will enter for Manly. The curious question is who they will replace. Won't be long till we find out. That is a nice idea from O'Donoghue, but sadly for Manly, nothing more. Talk about Spirit's penchant for goals out of the break, goals in the final 15 minutes of games. Manly, in the games that they have scored this season, scored a vast majority of them in the second half. 20 of 29 goals this year in the second stanza. So some mathematics to ponder for Manly supporters looking for positives as Coop and Chipman make their way onto the field. Stefano Rossello and Harry McCarthy, the duo replaced. Oh, that was nearly a very good ball for Michael Conestabbo. And the ground gave way beneath his feet that allowed O'Driscoll a free look at the football. Three minutes. Still to be played. And stoppage at Christie Park. It's Spirit in the ascendancy on the scoreboard and on the balance of chances, but so long as this game remains one where a solitary goal is just the difference, Manly United remain in with a chance. Heavy touch from O'Donoghue. And support and relief in the form of Chipman. Meek. Perez got a new target to aim at in Ben Coop up top, who does have a good record here at Christie Park. Scored in both of Manly United's previous 2 trips to the venue.
He's got two! He's got two!
Dropped over the top. Meek lifts it into the box. Side-footed away by Nicholas. Burgess. Wheeling left and right. A decent ball. Coco stabs at it. Coop. The striker's instinct. So close to coming up trumps for the substitute. At the end, where he has found the net twice before against Spirit, he could not have come much closer. It was just instinctual snap of the leg towards a wayward shot from Farakoko. Nearly came up trumps for the visitors. And it has prompted David Perkovic into a double change, and very much a defensive persuasion here. Zayn Alawalia is going to come off the bench alongside the returning Jamie Pachevsky, who is back for the first time since his match-winning goal against Apia in round 18. Great to see the towering presence of Jamie Pachevsky at the back for Spirit in a matter of moments. He won't be hard to miss at the back, unless David Perkovic is planning to play a bit of a positional surprise. This game is coming into a really critical juncture here. Two sides who the stats say are very good at finding the net late on. We're coming towards that crunch moment, the final 15-20 minutes of the game. And it is the final 15 to 20 minutes in which Craig Cornwell will play no further part. He's handed the captain's armband to Chris Marks. Jamie Pachevsky will come right into that spot, and leaving alongside subby is the home debutant Andre Takami. Zayn Alawalia will drop into midfield. Searching ball for the run of Ben Coop, who's beaten their Spirit defence. Ben Coop! Oh. Well, the best Manly attacks this evening have all come out of thin air. Farakoko's equaliser emerged out of a bit of head tennis at the top of the penalty area. And then 2 second-half moments for Ben Coop since coming on, where in the blink of an eye, he has nearly picked out an equaliser unexpected for the visitors. But they are positive signs if you're Jimmy Sneddon. If you're a Manly fan looking for hope, that this won't be another game going down in the loss column. And it won't be a 6th consecutive game without a win. Farakoko. It's Manly's belief building here. O'Donoghue. A lot of options further afield, so retreats to Chipman. The Manly talent who only recently turned 18 back in June. A real success story of the Manly junior pathway this season. Not quite able to get the eye in to pick out Lucas Meek this time around. 18 appearance of the season for Jasper Chipman tonight. And the only reason he hasn't had a few more is the few weeks he spent away having trials in Europe, we believe. He's a massive talent. Coming all the way from Manly United's SAP program at the age of 9. Two clubs going head-to-head tonight who do a great job of youth development in Sydney's north, bringing players through from the academy Sometimes the effects mic tells the story better than I ever could. Can clearly hear what David Perkovic is requesting of his side. The side who are currently hemmed in to their own defensive half at the moment. Is this a bait and switch? Are they soaking up some of Manly's huff and puff to hit their opponents with a 1-2 punch? Perez. One to chase for Meek. Nicholas in well. Spirit have only dropped points at Christie Park this season 4 times, only losing one of those games. They are on track to extend that positive run, but only have got a few more ideas about it. Ooh, a tangle of legs, and Kurt Ams again unmoved. Lukovic. Nice couple of touches to take him away from trouble. Nice edge. This one. Spirit win. And they will draw level on points with Marconi and Rockdale in the premiership race. And not only that, they will go provisionally top of NPL New South Wales as it's fizzed in towards Perez. He couldn't get a touch on it. Kaya Williams scrapping with Coop. Coming up best. Alawalia. What can the substitute provide? Alawalia. It's friendly fire in the end. Lukovic in the way. Manly have had a player hit the turf off the ball. Looking in real discomfort. Jimmy Snedden was planning some substitutes. Is this going to bring about a change in his plans? It looks from this distance to be not O'Donoghue. Jimmy Snedden did call a couple of his youthful charges from the warm-up area to come on, and they are going to make their introduction. 2 academy talents, Max Martinello and Will Folder. (21 and 20 years old respectively, both products of Manly's junior system, playing this year in the 20s. Martinello about to arrive into the game for his second appearance of this season, and the first since the 9th of May against Rockdale. Well, Will Folder has had senior minutes with Manly United before he even scored his first grade goal last season, but it's a first appearance of the 2025 campaign for him. And regrettably, injury for Matt O'Donoghue is the end of his day. As Max Martinello and Will Folder make their way onto the field. Lucas Meek has left on the far side. So a bit of youthful exuberance coming in for Manly. And without any new names in the transfer window, that's all they've got to call on. Could they be caught out? Spirit will be stopped in their tracks by a professional foul. And that will chew time away in this game, and it is, as we enter the final 10, starting to become a matter of potential clock management for Spirit. They have looked the more likely to put the game to bed than Manly have had to break back, but what few chances Manly have had, they've been massive ones. Perez bends the ball in, Aganovic away. Farakoko managed to find space where it didn't seem as though there was. And now Folder. Van der Sarg. The 1-2 doesn't work out, and that is cleared into the auxiliary dirt car park here at Christie Park. Picked up by a happy junior later, you would imagine. Folder. Away from danger, but into a corner. And doing enough to win a free kick. A bit of reaction from the youngster. Nothing that required sanction from the officials.
Brady, get the match up! Let's get the match up early!
It is the right foot of Harry Van der Sarg. On set piece duties again.
One coming
Can
in.
he find a teammate in a blue shirt? And make this one really interesting in the final knockings. To the back post it goes. Aganovic was there. Not the best of purchase from the central defender. Burgess. The Shepherd allowed a look at the football for Aganovic, but it was not one that he could make the most of. Perez. Over the top was Conosabo offside, yes. Can feel the tension here at Christie Park. And real knowledge from the home side of what's at stake here. A chance to go top of the table with the Stallions and Illendon to play tomorrow. A chance to make a premiership statement that few, if any, thought possible at the start of 2025. And there were some who, midway through the season, when they suffered back-to-back losses to Olympic and Marconi, thought that the Spirit bubble, flying, of course, to start the season and leading the league at one point, might have burst. But they are still in the hunt. And they need to close this one out. They do have a great defence. Only Marconi have conceded less this season, but a third would really ease the pressure. Manly have got ideas about that. Folder. Decent ball. Van der Sarg gambled, but Marks backed his judgment and came up trumps.
Up, get up!
It's a figure of consistency, Chris Marks. 53rd straight NPL appearance for Spirit tonight. Oh, that's a good flick on. And Afuka's onside. A massive chance for Spirit. Takumi Afuka! The exasperated groans from the bench say it all. Spirit letting their ceiling chances slip. And Takumi Afuka's miss may well be his last involvement. Or will it? Jacob Chidiak had been called over by David Perkovic to replace the Japanese goal scorer. And it looks as though for now he'll be right to continue. Critical final 5 on the way at Christie Park. Rockdale and Marconi watching on with real interest, you'd imagine. Barracking for the boys from Cromer Park. Wouldn't be a loss if Manly found an equalizer, but it would probably feel like one for David Perkovic's men. Up and under from Kyle Williams. Perez not really doing much to help Will Folder in the front three. Spirit is still pressing into the final throes of this game. Maganovic can do nothing with a hopeful pass in the direction of Ben Coop. As Jimmy Snedden readies himself for what you would imagine is a final change of the evening's action. Maxwell Pengelly, who has scored but the once this season, but it was a stoppage time equaliser at Landon Stadium against Blacktown. Coming on hopeful that he could repeat the feat here in Macquarie Park. Burgess goes toe-to-toe with Nicholas. That is a high up and under cross. Marks watches it all the way. And he makes it look a very calm and composed situation, but sometimes those can be really awkward for the keepers. Come forward by Marks. Alawalia regaining possession. Connor Starbo couldn't play at it. He was offside. Kubo wasn't, and he continues to give chase with real intensity. Yeah. And his pressure pays. A cheap corner for Spirit. And the seconds that will chew away will be as good as gold for this Spirit side. Perez. Looks as though Spirit are going to go for it with the corner direct. Perez delivery, firmly struck. To the top of the box it goes. And Afuka with a hopeful hit. And now Maxwell Pengelly will come on in place of Jesse Perez. He's going to avoid a repeat of his last trip to Christie Park when he was sent off late on. Maxwell Pengelly, his replacement. Coop, a nice little lay down to allow time and space for Van der Sark to make something happen. He's not getting runs that he likes further afield. Farakoko dances through. Folder came up with it and recycles possession Good pass from Martinello. Farrakoko cut through by Kaya Williams. And the ball hasn't gone out of play, and it's picked off. Chipman. Farrakoko. Burgess, a little bit too cute. Not what was desired in the moment. But Manly perhaps with one last push. It is going to be really interesting to see the amount of minutes that are going to be added onto this game by the fourth official. And Spirit players and fans will like what they see, because it is 3 extra minutes, 270 seconds chucked on by Rory McFarlane. But time enough for one last Manly push or a potential Spirit sealer. Burgess. Over to Folder.
26. Who's got 26?
O'Driscoll. Spirit camped in their own defensive half. Side-footed only half away. Coops' effort was courageous. Pengelly. Booming switch. Farrakoko chests and controls. And it's back at the feet of Martinello and Coco. Just couldn't make it happen. No surprise that Jimmy Sneddon fell to his knees after seeing that. Launch forward to Akubo. Pengelly fires it forwards. Not the most convincing of clearances. As it goes out for a throw. Spirit decide against making the sub as yet. Van der Sarg drags it through the legs of the Spirit marker. Coop. Looked like a handball. No whistle arrived. Burgess can hit them. Didn't. Folder. Pengelly. Manly have thrown defenders forward. O'Driscoll is the one who's there. Away by Conestabbo. Chipman. Burgess. Another heroic block in this Spirit defence. Jacob Chidiac is going to come in and replace Takumi Afuka in the dying embers. We're in the final minute of stoppage time. Spirit so close to a 14th win of the season, to 46 points on the board in season 2025, and to a place atop the perch for this evening at least in NPL New South Wales. But they are not there yet.
Number 2!
The Spirit Juniors are chanting for the whistle to be blown. Kurt Ams will allow one more push. Pengelly launches long. It's away by Nicholas. Still Spirit can't get it fully clear and away. Maybe they will now. Not quite. How many extra pushes will be afforded to Manly? It's in the generosity of Kurt Ams now.
Brady, 9.
Throw in the Van der Sarg direction. A bouncing ball steered away. And Spirit are there. A statement made from the boys from Christie Park. A message to Marconi and Rockdale. We are here to play in the premiership race, and we are top of NPL New South Wales for the evening at least. Over to the top 2 who play tomorrow. It wasn't easy. They were made to work by a Manly side who, while they haven't had much to smile about and won't head home with a result, showed plenty of positive signs in their third game under Jimmy Sneddon tonight. They fought back from behind in the first half, after the opening goal from Takumi Afuka, quickly cancelled out by a collector's item from Farakoko. As well, it sent us towards a terse and tense potential second 45. Spirit came up with the telling touch through one of their favourite sons, Ollie Wigan. His second goal on his injury return has Spirit smiling on Saturday night. They top the table halfway through round 25. And all eyes on Illendon and the Stallions tomorrow as the premiership race continues to entertain. NWS Spirit have done what they needed to do for this week at least. We sign off from Christie Park. The full-time score, NWS Spirit 2, Manly United 1.